people ask me what it means to be an artist, I often think it means you're curious. It's the same thing that I've met physicists or engineers or some of the folks that I've interacted with. We're all drawn to making and doing and problem solving. I just happen to be problem solving by making things. My name is Gina Gibson. I'm an artist. I've been an artist my entire life as far as I can remember. I can't remember a time that I wasn't being either encouraged to make things or draw, or actually it just kind of came naturally. It's very natural for me to think that I needed a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, or I just needed to sort things out through drawing. And that kind of followed me all the way through high school and college. And now I'm still sorting things out by being an artist. Not necessarily through drawing. I use digital tools. I have used video. I've used photography. Creativity is one of those things that people think maybe you just do one thing. And in my case, I do a lot of things. Most of those things are visual. I need to have an opportunity. So often what happens is I look for projects. And those projects or themes are what I'll end up making a body of work about. So previously, I've done bodies of work based on maybe sometimes pain. So I went through difficult times and I made work about that. Well, recently I made work about celebrating a place. So I think as an artist, it's about sorting things out. How do you make sense of the world around you? You know, I'll say as a child, no one was telling me, hey, you need to be a great artist. I mean, in some ways, I think people will say, oh, you're talented or you're not. And that pushes us forward in whatever fields that we may be interested in. Somebody might say you have an aptitude. But aside from that, there's the initial impulse. So I think that alone is a worthy reason to make things. The impulse to make comes from something. Maybe it's, you know, like I think I've said it clearly over and over again, I'm sorting things out. So as a little person, as a child, I would draw things that were scenes in my world. I remember this distinctly. I'd make comics, about daily life. And as an adult, I've tended to do very similar things. I've made art pieces and art exhibitions, had entire shows about the things I was dealing with, working through. I lost a parent, my mother, and it was a drastic shift. And I created a body of work that it felt kind of distant, almost like an echo, but I was sorting through it, and I can look back at that work and I could see distinctly what I was sorting through. I was very present in that work. And I can look back at almost every body of work I've created, because I tend to work in series. I tend to have an idea. I always joke that I have to give myself homework. I have to have an assignment. So I have something that's my idea, and I kind of toss things around that idea. Like, for example, let's say I decide I will collect objects related to the outdoors, or photos or images or drawings or sounds. So I collect as much as I can about that place and space, and then slowly I start to assemble pieces. So objects talk to each other, which sounds kind of odd, but over time, the longer I've made, the more I feel like I see relationships between things. The recent body of work I did with the Sanford Lab was delightful because it gave me an opportunity to collect things from a diverse range of backgrounds. So the history of Homestake Gold Mine, the infrastructure of a space that is fascinating because you have the juxtaposition of old and new. You have 100-plus-year-old facilities in some cases. I mean, obviously, much of it is current, but there are the remnants, and that's fascinating. So from an art standpoint, I was trying to collect old and new. You have contemporary science, which is world-leading. So I was not only surrounded by objects, machinery, I was also surrounded by people who fascinated me because they were doing things that were innovative. They were making, clear cases as to why they thought this would work or that would work. So from an artist standpoint, I had plenty of people to talk to. So I wasn't just collecting physical objects or drawings or photos. I was also collecting ideas during this time, and I did quite a bit of reading. So I think my process, as I've developed as an artist, the longer I make, the more I realize I need time to collect. I need time to let it kind of marinate. And then I need a lot of time to agonize about what I'm doing. I mean, there will be a point in every art show, and I need a deadline too. There will be a point with every exhibition where I think, oh man, it's not coming together. I mean, there has to be dread. And then I think that, I don't know if it's that anxiety that kind of pushes you to just say, well, I gotta start making decisions. And suddenly that need to make those decisions is what makes the work work. But I always have the impulse to make. That never goes away. It's just a matter of, are the things I'm doing connecting? Is this even mildly aesthetically pleasing? Do I care? I always go through that phase of, does it have to be beautiful? Can I just speak? I think the closer we get to getting in touch with ourselves and how we relate to the greater, I don't want to say just Earth, because I think it goes beyond that. I think there's, and it's hard to put into words because I've thought about this a lot, there's something around us, within us. I feel different after I've taken a walk, breathing in the air, looking at the sky, listening to the birds, saying hello to the trees, which might sound funny, but I feel like I recognize things. There's patterns, there's peace in that process of going out into nature. I feel very similarly when I'm making artwork that's successful. I mean, there are very similar feelings of connecting. I think art could save the world just as much as I think if we all started, seeing others. Maybe that's part of it. You're seeing yourself when you make art.